Japan's population crisis has been a growing concern for decades, but the numbers today paint an even starker picture. For 15 consecutive years, Japan has experienced a population decline, and the issue has reached critical levels. Last year alone, the country recorded only 730,000 births, while deaths surged to a record 1.58 million. This means Japan's population is shrinking faster than ever before, and the implications are far-reaching. Japan's fertility rate currently stands at a mere 1.3. To put that into perspective, for every 10 families today, there will only be about 6 in the next generation if the trend continues. What makes this even more alarming is the accelerating pace of decline. In the 1970s, Japan's population was growing rapidly thanks to the post-war baby boom. By the 1990s, however, the birth rate had begun to drop below replacement levels. Fast forward to today, and the nation is grappling with the lowest number of births ever recorded. A major factor contributing to Japan's declining fertility rate is the significant drop in the number of marriages. Traditionally, marriage has been the foundation for starting a family in Japan, with over 90% of children born to married couples. However, in recent years, fewer people are getting married. In 2023, the number of marriages fell below 500,000, marking one of the lowest figures since the end of World War II. Why are fewer people choosing to marry? Part of the answer lies in changing societal norms. Younger generations in Japan are placing greater emphasis on personal freedom, careers, and individual happiness. Many women, in particular, are delaying or opting out of marriage to focus on their careers. In a society where gender roles have historically been rigid, the traditional expectation for women to leave their jobs after marriage or childbirth is becoming less appealing. Furthermore, economic insecurity is a significant factor. Japan's stagnant wages and rising living costs have made many young people reluctant to commit to marriage and family life. Over the past 2 decades, the average starting salary for university graduates has barely increased, while housing and childcare costs continue to rise. For many, the idea of raising a child feels financially unattainable. One significant issue facing Japan is its notorious work culture. The term karoshi, which means death from overwork, originated in Japan and highlights the extreme pressures placed on employees. Long hours, rigid hierarchies, and the expectation of complete dedication to the company leave little time or energy for family life. For women, the challenges are even more pronounced. Despite efforts to promote gender equality in the workplace, Japan ranks low on a global scale regarding gender parity. Women who wish to have children often encounter a motherhood penalty where their career prospects decline after childbirth. This creates a difficult choice: pursue a fulfilling career or start a family. Many women are opting for the former. Japan is facing a significant demographic crisis as birth rates decline and death rates rise. The country's population is not only shrinking, but also aging at an alarming rate, and currently, nearly 30% of Japan's population is age 65 or older, making it one of the oldest societies in the world. This percentage is expected to increase to almost 40% by 2050. The aging population brings a range of challenges. First, there are economic repercussions. With fewer young people entering the workforce, Japan's labor pool is diminishing, which places immense pressure on the pension system and healthcare services. A smaller workforce must support an increasing number of retirees. Additionally, in rural areas, entire villages are disappearing as young people migrate to cities for work, leaving elderly residents with little support. Second, there are social implications. The traditional multi-generational household model is declining, giving way to more single-person households and elderly couples living alone. This shift has led to widespread loneliness and social isolation, which are contributing to mental health issues among older adults. For years, Japanese authorities have been investing heavily in pronatal policies, last pledging 3.6 trillion yen, 25 billion, to be distributed over the next 3 years on measures such as extending child allowances and child care and increasing education support. Japan has also been easing some of its strict immigration policies to help offset the shrinking labor pool in a number of key industries such as elder care and manufacturing, allowing more foreign workers to stay longer and bring their families. The goal is to triple the foreign workforce by 2040. The Japanese government is well aware of the ongoing crisis regarding declining birth rates and has implemented various measures to address the issue. Policies such as increased parental leave, financial incentives for having children, and expanded childcare services have been introduced over the years. For instance, families can receive a one-time payment of approximately $4,000 for each child born, and public childcare facilities have been expanded to support more working parents. However, these measures have had limited success. Critics argue that they do not adequately address the root causes of the problem, including gender inequality, economic insecurity, and the high cost of living. Japan is not the only country facing a population decline, but its situation is among the most severe. Other countries, such as Sweden and France, have successfully implemented policies to boost their fertility rates. What can Japan learn from them? In Sweden, generous parental leave policies, subsidized childcare, and flexible work arrangements have made it easier for families to balance work and parenting. France offers similar benefits, along with financial incentives for larger families. These policies not only support parents, but also challenge traditional gender roles, encouraging greater involvement of fathers in childcare. Japan could adopt similar approaches. For example, leveraging technology to improve work-life balance could be a game changer. Remote work, already gaining traction during the COVID-19 pandemic, could become a permanent feature, allowing parents to spend more time at home with their children. One controversial but potentially effective solution to Japan's population crisis is immigration. Historically, Japan has been reluctant to embrace large-scale immigration, citing concerns about cultural preservation and social cohesion. However, with a shrinking workforce and growing labor shortages, some experts argue that immigration is no longer a choice but a necessity. In recent years, Japan has begun to open its doors slightly wider, introducing visa programs for foreign workers in industries facing severe labor shortages. However, these measures remain limited in scope, and public opinion on immigration remains divided. Beyond the numbers, this is also a deeply human story. It's about young people struggling to balance their dreams with societal expectations. It's about elderly citizens seeking dignity and connection in their later years. And it's about a nation grappling with the question of what kind of future it wants to build. There are no quick fixes. Addressing Japan's population decline requires a multifaceted approach that tackles both the symptoms and the root causes. This means not only providing financial incentives for families, but also creating a society where having children is seen as a viable and fulfilling choice. It also means rethinking traditional norms around work and family. Companies need to adopt more flexible policies, and the government must continue to push for greater gender equality. At the same time, Japan needs to have an open and honest conversation about immigration and its role in the country's future. The challenges are daunting, but they also present an opportunity for transformation. By addressing its population crisis head-on, Japan has the chance to create a more inclusive, equitable, and sustainable society.